You work harder than anyone you know, but money seems to run away from you. You wake up early, you stay late, you sacrifice weekends. Yet your bank account remains stubbornly empty while others who seem to do less somehow attract wealth effortlessly. This is not random. There is an invisible vibrational field you are emitting without knowing it, and it is pushing money away from you with the same force a magnet repels another magnet. Napoleon Hill spent 25 years studying the wealthiest people in America, and he discovered something that changed everything. The problem is not your effort. The problem is your frequency. And in the next few minutes, you will learn exactly how to reverse it. Here is the paradox that traps millions of people. You believe that working harder will create more money. You believe that sacrifice equals reward. You believe that struggle proves worthiness. These beliefs feel noble. They feel right, but they are creating the exact opposite of what you want. Napoleon Hill called this the hard work paradox. He observed that Andrew Carnegie worked fewer hours than his factory workers, yet accumulated wealth beyond imagination. Henry Ford spent more time thinking than doing physical labor, yet revolutionized industry. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times before the light bulb succeeded, but he never feared failure because he understood something most people miss entirely. The truth is this: effort alone does not attract wealth. Effort combined with the wrong mental frequency repels wealth. Think of your mind as a radio transmitter. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every belief you hold sends out a specific frequency into the universe. Napoleon Hill discovered through his research that wealthy people operate on a frequency of expectation, certainty, and abundance. Poor people, no matter how hard they work, operate on a frequency of fear, doubt, and scarcity. The universe does not respond to your effort. The universe responds to your vibration. Here is where most people make the fatal mistake. They try to think positive thoughts while their subconscious mind broadcasts fear. They affirm abundance while their nervous system vibrates with anxiety about bills. They visualize success while their body language screams desperation. This creates what Napoleon Hill called a mixed signal. And the universe always defaults to the stronger frequency, which is almost always the subconscious fear. You are not failing because you lack discipline. You are failing because you are unknowingly broadcasting a repulsive frequency that pushes money away before it can ever reach you. The wealthy do not work harder than you. They vibrate differently than you. Napoleon Hill tells the story of a man who came to him desperate and broken. This man had worked for 20 years in the steel industry. He was competent, reliable, and dedicated, yet he never earned more than a basic wage, while others around him were promoted and prospered. Hill asked him one question: "What do you think about money?" The man answered immediately, "I think about how I never have enough of it. I think about how unfair it is that others get ahead while I stay behind. I think about how I might lose my job and end up on the street." Hill looked at him and said, "There is your problem. You have been using the most powerful force in the universe, your mind, to create poverty instead of wealth." This man had unknowingly mastered the art of manifestation. The problem was, he had mastered manifesting exactly what he did not want. Napoleon Hill taught that the mind operates like a magnet. Whatever you focus on with emotional intensity, you attract. This is not mysticism, this is law. Hill called it the law of vibration, and he insisted it was as reliable as the law of gravity. When you think about lack, you vibrate lack. When you vibrate lack, you attract more situations that create lack. The man was not unlucky. He was simply broadcasting the wrong frequency, and the universe was responding with perfect accuracy. Hill instructed the man to do something radical. For 30 days, he was forbidden to think a single thought about lack, poverty, or unfairness. Instead, he was to spend 10 minutes each morning and evening visualizing himself as already wealthy. feeling the emotions of abundance, and thanking infinite intelligence for the prosperity that was already his in the invisible realm. The man was skeptical but desperate. He followed the instructions. Within 90 days, he received an unexpected promotion. Within 6 months, he had doubled his income. Within a year, he had started his own business. Nothing about his external effort changed. What changed was the invisible field he was emitting, and the universe rearranged itself to match his new vibration. Napoleon Hill discovered through his research that the human mind operates on 2 distinct frequencies: the frequency of fear and the frequency of faith. These 2 frequencies cannot coexist. When you operate in fear, you automatically repel wealth, health, love, and success. When you operate in faith, you automatically attract them. Hill defined faith not as religious belief, but as the absolute certainty that what you desire is already yours in the invisible realm of thought before it manifests in the physical realm of form. This is the mechanism that separates the wealthy from the poor. Here is how the mechanism works. Every thought you think creates a corresponding emotion. Every emotion you feel creates a corresponding vibration. Every vibration you emit attracts experiences, people, and circumstances that match that vibration. Most people think they are powerless victims of circumstances. Napoleon Hill taught that you are not a victim, you are a creator. The problem is you have been creating unconsciously. And unconscious creation always defaults to fear, because fear is the primal survival frequency hardwired into the human nervous system. Napoleon Hill believed that every person emits an energetic presence that others can sense. He taught that when you hold thoughts of lack in your mind, your entire demeanor contracts and dulls. When you hold thoughts of abundance, your presence expands and radiates confidence. People respond to this energetic signature even if they cannot consciously identify it. This is why some people feel draining to be around while others feel energizing. This is why money flows easily to some people while avoiding others. The wealthy person walks into a room and their presence broadcasts confidence, certainty, and abundance. The poor person walks into the same room and their presence broadcasts fear, doubt, and scarcity. Opportunities go to the person whose energy attracts them. Napoleon Hill taught that you must consciously choose which frequency you will operate on. This requires what he called mental discipline. You must guard your mind like a soldier guards a fortress. Every negative thought must be immediately replaced with a positive thought. Every doubt must be immediately countered with faith. Every fear must be immediately transmuted into expectation. This is not easy, this is not comfortable, but this is the price of wealth. Hill said, "The majority of people permit relatives, friends, and the public at large to so influence them that they cannot live their own lives because they fear criticism. The moment you allow external circumstances to dictate your internal vibration, you lose control of your magnetic field and you begin attracting by default instead of by design." Now let us bring this ancient truth into your modern financial reality. You live in a world of bills, mortgages, debt, and financial pressure. You cannot simply ignore these realities, but you can change your relationship with them. Napoleon Hill worked closely with Andrew Carnegie, who understood this principle better than anyone. Carnegie taught Hill that the mastermind principle is actually a force multiplier. When 2 or more minds come together in harmony toward a common purpose, they create a third invisible mind that is more powerful than either individual mind. This concentrated mental force produces results that no single person could achieve alone. Carnegie used the mastermind principle to build his steel empire. He surrounded himself with brilliant engineers, but more importantly, he surrounded himself with people who believed in abundance, possibility, and vision. He refused to allow anyone in his inner circle who vibrated fear or doubt. He understood, that one person operating on the frequency of scarcity could contaminate the entire group and collapse the magnetic field that was attracting opportunity. This is why Napoleon Hill insisted that you must carefully choose who you spend time with. If you spend your days around people who complain about money, who fear the future, who doubt success, their frequency will drag yours down, no matter how disciplined you are. Thomas Edison applied this same principle to invention. He failed 10,000 times before successfully creating the light bulb, but he never once vibrated failure. He vibrated experimentation. He vibrated curiosity. He vibrated certainty that the solution already existed and he would eventually discover it. This frequency attracted the right insights, the right materials, and the right timing. Meanwhile, thousands of other inventors with equal technical skill gave up after a few hundred attempts because they vibrated defeat. The universe gave them exactly what they were broadcasting. Henry Ford took this further. He famously said, "Whether you think you can or you think you cannot, you are right." This is not motivational speaking. This is vibrational law. Your beliefs create your frequency. Your frequency creates your magnetic field. Your magnetic field creates your reality. Ford believed he could mass-produce affordable automobiles when every expert said it was impossible. His belief created a frequency of certainty. That frequency attracted the engineers, the investors, the workers, and the circumstances that made it possible. The impossible became inevitable because Ford refused to vibrate doubt. Earl Nightingale, who studied Napoleon Hill extensively, said, "We become what we think about most of the time." This is the simplest and most profound statement of the law of vibration. If you spend your day thinking about bills you cannot pay, you vibrate lack. If you spend your day thinking about opportunities you could create, you vibrate abundance. The universe does not care about your intentions. The universe responds to your dominant frequency. Most people intend to be wealthy while thinking about poverty all day long. Then they wonder why wealth never comes. Here is your metaphysical resolution. You do not need to work harder. You need to vibrate differently. The invisible field that has been repelling money from you can be reversed in a single decision. That decision is to consciously choose faith over fear, abundance over lack, expectation over doubt. Napoleon Hill gave us the roadmap. Now you must walk it. The 3 steps to reverse your polarity to attraction are these. First, identify your poverty consciousness triggers. What situations make you immediately think about lack? What conversations pull you into scarcity thinking? What habits reinforce fear? Write them down. Become aware of them. You cannot change what you do not acknowledge. Second, create a new dominant thought. Napoleon Hill taught that you must plant a definite chief aim in your mind and water it with emotion and repetition until it becomes the strongest frequency you emit. Decide exactly what you want, write it down, read it twice daily, and feel the emotions of already having it. This reprograms your subconscious mind and shifts your vibration. Third, protect your frequency like your life depends on it, because it does. Refuse to engage with people, media, or situations that vibrate fear. Fill your mind with content, conversations, and environments that vibrate abundance. This is not theory. This is the exact method Andrew Carnegie used to go from poverty to building one of the greatest fortunes in human history. This is the exact method Napoleon Hill taught to thousands of people who transformed their financial realities. This is the exact method that separates those who dream about wealth from those who live it. The invisible field exists. The question is whether you will continue broadcasting repulsion or whether you will choose to broadcast attraction. If this truth resonates with you, if you feel the shift beginning inside you right now, then join this community of manifestors. Subscribe to this channel and become part of a collective frequency field that is rising together. When you surround yourself with others who understand these laws, your individual frequency amplifies and manifestation accelerates. Do not walk this path alone. Walk it with us. Napoleon Hill left us with these words, and they are the perfect place to end. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. You have spent years conceiving poverty while working for wealth. Now it is time to conceive wealth while working in alignment with your vibration. The universe is waiting to respond. Change your frequency, change your life.